Okay, today I'm gonna talk about the diffing algorithm in React. Right. So first we're gonna talk about does diffing algorithm exist in React? Alright. So to explain this, I'm gonna show you an example, which is a small timer. Script barbell, and we give the React class called timer, and this is a timer with input fields. Timer. Want to run this file, right? So now input field called after input. Of course, we gotta have a inner input later. So we have a span. Says current time is this dot state dot time dot to locale string. Yep. Oh, we need to initialize the time. Time, new date. As you can see, yeah, there is time here, but it is static. So we want to put this time run. We want to make this time run. So when component date mount, we need to start an in timer. So in this, we change the state. Time, new date. Of course, we want to add 1 second here. Yeah, as you can see here, it's running, right? It's running. So suppose I input something here, say test. As you can see, the value of this input file it keeps still, right? So the component has been refreshed, but the value of this input field has what is still here, right? So it means that only this element, this span element, right, has been refreshed. So value of input field keep still, only different DOM will be refreshed, right? So using diffing algorithm, and the smallest unit of measurement is the tag. So it means that, let's take a look at this. So the smallest measurement is a tag, so the whole span tag has been refreshed. Whole span tag has been refreshed. So current time is also refreshed every sec. And suppose I add another input field after this timer, inside of this span. Input called inner input, right? Okay, so I just input something here, test. So this input field is inside of this span, but the span has been refreshed while the value of this inner input field stays, because smallest unit of measurement is a tag, and diffing will compare tag layer by layer. So input field nested in the span will stay, right? So because this input field nested in the span is also a tag, right? And this tag hasn't changed, so it would just stay there without any change, right? So this is the basic of the diffing algorithm. So remember, we have talked about this before, that when we display an unsorted list or list atom, we better to give it a k. In the previous class, we used the index in the array to as a k, but we have talked about them before, said it's not a good practice, but why? So in this part, I'm going to talk about how k's work in diffing algorithm. Why shouldn't use index as case, right? So now I wanna give it an index. We're gonna give you another example here. And a script barbell React class. This is, suppose I wanna print some persons, right? So print persons with a list. This time we'll use person as well, this part. Refresh the page. Yeah, print person with list. So I'm gonna give it a person. Persons. This is an array with the data of person, right? So including ID, name, Tom, age, 18. To Jerry, 19. So we just want to display it here, so we just add a all listed unsorted list, and remember we use it, we do this way to display the atom, right? So the curly bracket and this dot state dot persons dot map, and there's atom, and return li list atom. List atom. In this list atom, we display something like a template string. Said name is item dot name. Age is item dot age. Refresh the page. Yeah. Name is Tom. Age is anti-fan. Age is anti-fan. Okay, so says every list atom should have a k. Oh, age. As you can, yeah. So each child in the list should have a unique k. So before we just use index here, right? So give it a k, and it says index. Of course, this is a parameter passed automatically to map method, right? So using index as k. Yep. So suppose I have a button here to add a new person. Button. Click me add to add a new person. So yeah, of course, on click this dot add. So we need a method here. Arrow add. So in this method we give it a new person. So ID should be this dot state dot length plus 1, and the name is Fico. Age is, let's give it a 20. Right. Now there is a new person. We just set state, and in this state we do persons array p new person, and this dot state dot persons. Right. Refresh the page. We click this button. Cannot read property of symbol. Undefined is persons. Yep, as you can see here, so name is Fico, age, right? So a new person has to be added. I'm gonna add the identifier here. K is, right? So we need to show which K we are using. So index. Refresh the page. The K 0 Tom, K number 1 Jerry. And when we click the button, you need to focus. Yeah. So K 0 is Fico. So we need to review, not review, we need to explain what is the K and how it works. So K is an important identifier when element update. Process of diffing algorithm to compare new virtual DOM with existing, just new DOM with existing DOM using case. So when we go through the diffing algorithm, so first when our state of the component has changed, because the component is driven by state, right? So create new DOMs based on new DOMs based on new states. Compare new DOMs with existing real DOM. So same K, same content, keep the real DOM. save k different content, convert virtual DOM to real DOM and display. Different k convert virtual DOM to real DOM and display. Right? Because so now you know that whatever at any time, whenever the state has changed, they will create the new DOM based on the state and to compare the case first. See if there are same identifiers, right? So if there is a same identifier, then they compare the content so that eventually they can keep the real DOM to prevent the real DOM be re-rendered, right? So let's just back to this and take a look at this. So now in this part we use index. We use index as the key. Now the key is 0 Tom, and we add a new one. The key is 0 and name is Fico. So means that there were two DOMs could be reused. These two could be reused because the 01 Tom and Jerry could be reused, and now when we add a new one, the new one just replace the K0 and the position 0, and right here it seems like there are two new DOMs here. So maybe you think it still works, right? It still works. It doesn't really matter. But imagine there are 2,000 records here, 2,000 or 2 million of list atom. So if you want to add new one, you can just create a new real DOM. But if you use index, you need to create 2,000,001 new DOM. Then it will just make your page extremely slow. So it means that using, in this case, using index as k will cause potential performance issue, right? So why it is a potential performance issue? It's not actual performance issue, because as you can see here, so we in this part we just add the new person on top of the existing person. Suppose we do it this way. P. Now we click the add new person. So 0 Tom, number 1 Jerry, and number 2 Fico, right? So the first two DOMs didn't refresh or didn't replaced by new DOM, right? So suppose I select this, right? As you can see here, so these two DOMs just exist there, right? So that's the reason why I said it is potential, right? So it means that add new DOM on top of existing DOMs, which is reverse order adding or addition or deleting, which will break the existing order, will cause a performance issue. But if you just add at new DOM, we will cause all DOMs re-rendered and add new DOM to the bottom of DOMs will not cause this, right? But as a software developer, you cannot just control to which I mean how the function is designed, right? We do programming because either the new DOM has to be on top of the existing DOMs or on the bottom of the DOMs. It is the requirements from our clients or project manager, right? So solution is to use ID, a unique ID, right? For example, phone number or email or address. Solution is to use ID, right? So now we want to use the ID instead. So let's do char. Right. We copy this using ID as a key. So this part we use atom ID. Remember this atom, each person have a unique ID. So item.id. Refresh the page. Yep. Okay. We don't need this. We only need one button is enough, right? So if I click this, just focus. The key is not a number. Why? Item ID. So Fico should have an ID. So let's print this dot state dot persons number 2, right? On defend, why it is on defend. State dot, okay, state dot persons, right? Yep. Okay, click the button, as you can see here, right? So the key is 3, and the key is 0. This key lets me refresh the page. We select the content here. We add, right? As you can see, this key 1, key 2, Tom and Jerry are still here, and this is a new person we add on top of the existing DOMs, right? So the page didn't refresh, and we reused the existing DOMs to make it more efficient. So this is the reason why we use a unique ID as a key to help the diffing algorithm go through, right? So still you want to argue with me, let's say, hey, I don't have performance issue because my project is always smaller. We don't have to worry about the performance stuff. But there is scenarios that using an id as a key is a masked. So when you have input like element nested in the component, what does this mean? So okay, so I'm gonna just copy and paste here, paste this, and we call it masked. Masked. Three, print a person with list. Using a list with nested input field. Yep, just refresh the page. Sorry. Let me get rid of this so you can take a look at this better. Yeah, now we focus on this, right? So print person using a list with nested input field. So suppose I add some input field after this age inside of this span. So let's do it. Where should we add this? So list. Okay, we just add some input here, right? So person information. Okay, so we also add it here. Let's refresh the page. So now I input something like the person information, right? Okay, let us do a little. Okay, just keep it in this way. So suppose 18, 19, 18, 19. Focus. If I click this button, as you can see the difference. So these two values has been harvested, right? So it was supposed to be in this field and in this field, right? So 18 and 19, but in this one there's no error. 18, 19. Why? Because as we have already talked about right here, so smallest unit of measurement is a tag. So when you compare, when the different algorithm compare those existing DOMs, so this one they will say, hey, do you have, so in K0 do you have a different input field? It says no, we don't have a different input field. So but in this one, in K1, it will ask you, do you have a different input field? It says yes, because the key is different, right? So it was supposed to be here, 8 and 19 here, right? So the virtual DOM, the input field as a virtual DOM, they don't have a value property. They don't have a value property, so they don't compare the compare the value of this field, but they only compare the key, right? But as the key has changed, this key 1, this key was 0, and the key has changed, so they don't care about this like input field anymore. But in this part, the key is still with this. The key is a unique identifier, including of this list item, including this input field. So this input field will sit along with this key all the time. So this is the difference. In this scenario, you must use a unique identifier as a key instead of using index. So if you cannot just understand it right away, you need to take a look, review this video several times so that you can have a deep understanding, right? So this is how diffing algorithm works, and yeah, this is pretty much the diffing algorithm today.